mystery-loving friends. Thank you for coming back to listen to another chapter of A History of Murder. Before we get started, I thought I would just remind you that these signed bookmarks, along with signed copies of my books, are available on my Etsy shop. So I will link that below. There's also a way for you to get a free signed bookmark, and that is by letting me know via email that you've reviewed my books, and I will just send you one of these for free once you verify that you've done the review. Reviews are very, very important for indie authors, and so as a thank you, I will certainly send you a free signed bookmark. We are on chapter 15 today of the book. If you remember last chapter, Grandma and Chloe had been outside discussing the progress on the case, and unbeknownst to them, Chief Garner showed up. They thought that he'd be too busy crime fighting to show up for the Poison Pen book club, but he made it after all, and Grandma hurried inside to leave Chloe alone with him. So let's find out what happens today on chapter 15. It's called I'm in Charge Here. May I? Garner asked, pointing to the chair Grandma Lily had just vacated. I nodded. Sorry, the tea is probably cold, or I'd offer you some, he said. That's okay. I'm more of a coffee guy. I laughed. Me too. I mean, a coffee girl. But Grandma has been pushing this stuff on me since I got here. I found myself looking over his shoulder toward the field. I heard about the proposed development back there. Garner shook his head and frowned. I'm doing all I can to stop it. It's a terrible plan, but I can't say I'm surprised. Jericho Falls started as a boom town, you know. Think of the native people the settlers forced out to mine here in the first place. History has a way of repeating itself, I supposed. I felt ashamed. My family was part of that, I said. I'm not saying we're responsible for what happened in the past, but we should consider it, he said, and try to do better. I liked that. After a pause, I asked, How's the investigation going? His expression changed, and he seemed to go into cop mode. It's early. We're gathering information. Did I dare discuss my findings with him? I'm glad you're keeping an open mind, because there are some suspects I'm considering. His green eyes widened. Really? I nodded. I hear that Art didn't get along with his co-worker Malcolm Griggs. Uh-huh. He didn't seem uninterested, so I went on. And you know that Art has a daughter? Grandma Lily tells me she had a complicated relationship with her dad. The chief didn't react. Then don't forget William Weston. He has a thing for my grandma and was jealous of Art. Any other theories? No, but I still have more people to talk to. Garner winced. I was afraid of that. Listen, Miss Martin, finding Arthur McMillan's killer is my job, not yours. I felt my cheeks grow warm, both from the reprimand and from the anger welling up inside me. I have to know, is Grandma Lily a suspect? He took a deep breath. We have to consider her. She and Art were in a relationship. He was found dead on her property, and her hair ribbon was on the body. He raised a finger as he made each point and continued to hold up 3 fingers as we looked into each other's eyes. 3 strikes. Was she out? But wait, what about motive? I was walking on treacherously thin ice here. Grandma Lily would never harm anyone, especially someone she cares for. No one wants to believe a family member is capable of murder, Garner said. But in this case, it's true, I cried. I balled up my fists and struck my thighs. Calm down. Let's not turn this into a fight. I'm not fighting with you. I'm telling the truth. My grandmother did not kill Art. I stood, intending to go into the house and end our conversation. I only made it a few angry steps when Chief Garner spoke. Are you sure Lily didn't have a motive? I turned back to him. What do you mean? Have you asked? Oh, no. Did Garner know about Nancy? My pulse raced and my mouth went dry. Garner stood and slowly moved towards me. He stepped so close I could smell his aftershave again, now faded and mixed with sweat. I tried to ignore how his proximity made my skin tingle. Chloe, do the right thing here. Leave the investigation to me. Chief Garner, I will not stop looking for the truth as long as you think my grandmother was involved. He smiled, unsurprised by my stubbornness. And, I continued, I expect you to look into the others. I always run an honest investigation, he said sharply. I turned toward the house again, but looked over my shoulder to tell Garner I appreciated his understanding. I'm not taking orders from you, Chloe, he said sternly. I'm in charge here. I felt so angry, I thought I might burst. There was no way I could go inside and make polite chit-chat with a bunch of book clubbers at this point. I decided to change course. I spun around and strode right past Garner to the back gate. Tell Grandma Lily I've gone for a walk. The gate creaked as I opened it and clanged when I threw it shut. It was dusk now. I wasn't sure where I was going, but merely being out here, where it was wild and free, felt good. I thought about everything I had learned so far. I wondered how likely it was for my grandmother to be charged with murder. How much of the suspicion on her was because of me and my past? Garner's words replayed in my head. History has a way of repeating itself. I hiked along the game trail leading into a row of cottonwood trees. I remembered carving my name into one when I was about 9 or 10 with the pocket knife Grandpa let me carry. Was it still here? I waded through waist-high grass to where I expected my carving to be, but I didn't find it. Would it be higher now because of the growth of the trees? I wasn't sure how that worked. I was about to give up, tired of fighting through the overgrown branches, when I found something. It wasn't what I was looking for, though. This was a heart, the kind sweethearts carve. The crude shape contained the message, B plus C forever. The walk did me good. I was still irked at Chief Garner and worried that he might know more about Nancy than I'd like, but I was ready to face him again. I went in through the back door. Grandma was brewing yet more tea. My face must have shown my utter fill of the beverage. It's for the book club, silly, she said. Why'd you leave me with him? I frowned. What in the world happened to you? She asked back. You look like you were dragged through a hedge backwards. She picked a leaf and a twig from my hair. Well, let's see now. I've been through a lot since I last saw you. I bumped into the chief, but of course you knew about that. He isn't too convinced by my theories on who killed Art, by the way. The man is so bossy. I had to go for a walk just to cool down. Grandma placed a finger over her lips. Shh, he's out there waiting for the others. Darn it, how are we going to get any theories from them with him here? She sighed. I'm not sure yet, but come on, they'll be here any minute. I grabbed her wrist to stop her from leaving just yet. Grandma, I think Chief Garner knows. She frowned. About Nancy. Okay, that does it for chapter 15. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. If you want to know more about history of murder, I hope that you'll look at the links below. If you're enjoying the story, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you'll never miss a new episode or a new chapter of A History of Murder. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time for chapter 16. Bye-bye.